Welcome back to the channel. So today I've got the 2023 G09 chassis XM. So this is the halo vehicle, if you will, for BMW M. Their 50th anniversary, if you want to think of it that way, present to themselves, if you exclude the 3.0 CSL. So this one is finished in Dravit Grey. Now for the 2024 models, you can actually get individual paint at no cost. So if you're in the market for an XM, you may want to wait for 2024. You can get it in basically any color that BMW plant Spartanburg has. It's listed for the XM. So I think a lot of good, exciting colors coming in for the XM. We still have more on the way, fortunately or unfortunately, depends on how you think about it. So we have our split headlight design. So basically on the 7 Series, as well as the X7. A lot of interesting aero, all useful. There are driving assisted professional package sensors there. The car does come with it as standard. We got our XM badging and our horizontal kidney grills, although not double-sided kidney grills, but this is going to be how M looks in the future. Horizontal kidney grill rather than vertical. To parking assistance package as well, that is all standard on the vehicle. Take a step back and take in Dravit Grey in the sun, so lots of gold flaking in the paint, giving an appearance of green. Over on the side we have the style 922M wheels, the red M compound brake calipers. Now, interesting to note, these are not cross-drilled rotors. Unusual for an M vehicle. I think you haven't seen that in quite some time. And then sort of like an aero package wheel as well. So you can actually get up to 23-inch wheels on the build. So this one has the Yokohama tires. Again, seeing Yokohama a little bit more depending on what car it is. This is a plug-in hybrid. Your charging flap here. Doesn't want to open right now. Car probably got to be off, but XM badging here. Of course, you can get this in gold, which I don't think is very common. It's really sort of a choice you want to make with a build. I don't think it's going to be very common for dealer spec for inventory. That's exactly what this one is. So moving to the back, we've got our very sculpted taillights. An unusual placement of the badging, so XM badging here, and of course no BMW roundel in the back except for up top on the rear glass. So reminiscent of the M1. Of course, vertically stacked exhaust tips. These are real tips. And a faux diffuser. So moving aside, I'll pause here for the 3/4 inch. I think that's pretty good. I think the rear end, it's a little too bulbous, in my opinion. The front end, take it or leave it. And the side profile, I think that's really good as well. But obviously, this is a very small market for a vehicle like this. And I do apologize for any wind noises coming through. It's a little bit breezy up here. But definitely a taste vehicle. So of course the label red was announced, and there was an attempt at Pikes Peak by BMW driving school chief instructor Matt Mullins. Unfortunately, Matt had an off and wrecked the car. Thankfully he's okay. So the car is built really well, so you can find there was a little story about that wreck on his Instagram page. So it's Matt Mullins Drives. So thankfully he's okay. The car is built really well, super fast. And this one, we'll go over the details and my GM insisted on changing the interior color. All right, so opening up, we have the black full merino leather. Again, this is not my choice for the XM. I originally had the, I think it's Blue Bay Lagoon or Lagoon Blue, whatever it is, with the very nice contrasting vintage leather. I think the black interior doesn't do justice to the specialness of the XM. It makes it really look plain, in my opinion. Again, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. Of course, Secure Orange would have been a nice choice. But I did get a Blue Bay Lagoon, or whatever the blue interior is, on an upcoming vehicle, convincing him that that's the way to go. Basically experiment with the colors and show what you can do with the XM. There's not many to choose from. All right, so inside we've got our M steering wheel, M1, M2 buttons in red, and then carbon fiber shift paddles, basically stolen from the M3, M4, and M2 now. And the M stitching on the steering wheel, always a nice touch. And our instrument panel from iDrive 8, heads-up display. Bowers & Wilkins, I think, is one of the few options other than, of course, exterior and interior paints. And our very nice curved display. A little M badging over on the passenger side. And carbon fiber interior trim on the rest of the vehicle in the center console. And then we've got our gear selector, an actual gear selector with embossed M emblem and stitching. The rest of it all pretty standard from N vehicles. Now, do note that you do have a running in period. You actually technically have two. So the S68 engine has a limiter of the first 310 miles or so of about 4,000 RPM or so. So once you pass that 310 mile sort of run-in period, you get full power of the engine, which is why I would recommend, if you have the chance to go to the M-Town Tour, if you want to drive one of these things, those vehicles will be past that break-in period and probably also past the run-in service, which this car, being an M vehicle, does require. So there's a 1,200 mile service as well. All right, so let's go over the pricing on this one and all the crazy-ass standard equipment. So starting price of the XM for 2023 is $159,000. So paint included, merino leather included, unless you go with the Silverstone or the Blue Bay Lagoon, whatever it is. All those things are all included. And then you got Bowers & Wilkins for another $3,400. All told, MSRP of a little over $163,000. So all that stuff is standard equipment on here, including driving assistance professional package, parking assistance, all the stuff you'd expect given the price point. We'll take a look at the back seat, look at the trunk as well as under the hood, and then you can join me later in the parking garage where it's a little bit darker, so you can see off some of the lighting effects. Now again, there is no comfort axle on the back here, and the handles are really nice. This effect will be mirrored up here on the ceiling, those geometric shapes. It's the ambient lighting up there. We'll get more of that momentarily. So in the back, you got another 2-zone climate control, as well as heated rear seats. And then knee room and leg room, really good to see, very comparable to the iX, if not a little bit larger. And then headroom, not an issue whatsoever in the XM. I mean, it's also a very comfortable rear seat for your passengers in the back. It is leather everywhere. And I think a really good design on the seats in the back. You can fit 3 people in the back. The center rear passenger does have this little inlet here. A bit easier, I guess, sitting a little bit in that seat, not having to stretch over that. So it's really, really good. Of course, does this make sense to you? I don't know, probably not, given the price point, as well as being a monstrosity, if you will. All right, I don't believe there is kicked open on this one. All right, and your rear view camera is mounted up here on the tailgate. And then cargo space is, I'd say, pretty decent. The really good thing about the XM is this carrying case for the flexible fast charger. Now, it does include only the level 1 adapter. So you will need to buy a level 2, be it NEMA 1450, whatever, think of for your level 2 charging needs. And you probably want to do that because this one does not have a sort of charging by driving feature like you used to have on the old PHEVs, where you would get a battery control, because it's also made into a 4.4 liter V8. Let's go pop that hood as well. Let's make our way to the hood. So again, that's plug-in hybrid. Then charging times, if you get a level 2, you can do about 3.5 hours to full charge. It's a 25.7 kilowatt battery with about 30 miles of full electric range. Let's peek under the hood here. So this is the S68 4.4 liter V8 twin turbo engine. So this engine in this particular vehicle is only rated at 483 horsepower. And then it's mated to 195 horsepower or 194 horsepower electric motor. So output doesn't add up. So it's 644 horsepower and 590 torques. So very potent engine combination. However, because it weighs so much, the 0 to 60 times are going to be a little bit slower than the X5M. So I think it rates it at 4.1 seconds, which is by no means slow, but a tick slower than the X5M competition. So does this vehicle make a lot of sense? Obviously, it's a market well above what I would be willing to go, plus I would get an SUV anyway. But I think maybe they're aiming for the G-Wagon type of customer, so it's got that same sort of funky design that you don't see in other BMWs like you would Mercedes comparably with a G-Wagon. But we'll pause here and you'll join me in a few moments in the parking garage to go over the interior once more. All right, so back in the garage area, so it's a little bit darker here, and I've got the iconic glow kitty girls on, so they will show up as long as you have some of the lighting elements on. This one's just got the parking lights on, but this is the same idea that's in the M Hybrid V8 with a GTP car that BMW M Motorsport races in them, and soon to be in WEC. And also the same sort of idea, not the same powertrain, the same powertrain idea. So a hybrid system melded with a V8 engine. That's in the race car, and this is in the XM. Let's take a look at the inside and show you. Let's just go in the back here. You see the iconic, it's the ambient lighting on the roof, those geometric shapes, really emphasizing those shapes that you see. All right, so back in the back seat, so you can see the ambient lighting set up to blue right now. And what I'll do is, I think there's a startup sequence where you will see up here on startup the M colors. Let's see if we can get that captured momentarily. But this is what the back seat looks like with at least a little bit more darkness. You can see how this shaped ceiling works with the ambient lighting. And lots of ambient lighting all around. So this one we choose. This one we chose blue. All right, so I'm gonna get this in position here. So I'm gonna turn off the vehicle. So that's the startup sequence in the XM. You can see those the M colors lighting up, going across the ceiling. But that's it for a quick tour around another XM, and we'll see you at the next video.